graduated from high school, I went to college at Texas A&M University, and it was there where I discovered that I really, 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 really liked parties. So much so that I forgot to go to class. And as a result, I almost flunked out of my freshman year of college. I finished the year with a 1.7 GPA. I lost my scholarship. I was only allowed back on scholastic probation, and I was forced to take a class called Succeeding in College. Now, I was totally humiliated to even see that class on my roster. It was widely known that this was like a college class for dummies, and I was mortified to walk in the door on my first day back. But that class, y'all, changed my life. Because it was in that class I was first introduced to the concepts of time management, proactive planning, and a success mindset. And as a result of the lessons that I learned in that class, I was able to turn my whole life around. But here's my big question from that whole experience. Why do we have to be almost failing in order to be taught how to succeed? So, how many of you have ever worked more than one job at a time? And how many of you had any sort of trouble or roadblocks getting your business off the ground? Let me see who you are. Keep your hand up. I want to take a good, hard look. Okay, most of you are telling the truth. The rest of you are just lying. Okay? That's okay. But you know, it's totally normal to feel that way. And I know exactly how you felt because I felt the same way too. You see, for the first 7 months after I started my business, I did nothing but set goals and miss goals. Set goals and miss goals. Set goals and miss goals. I felt like a broken record. I really began to doubt myself, and I didn't even know if I should set the goals anymore. And then one day I was sitting in the audience at the annual convention, and it was like I had this weird out-of-body experience as I was sitting there. I could see myself super small, sitting way up in the nosebleed section. And I carefully watched as all of the speakers came onto the stage. All the super successful top performers and high achievers. And as they came onto the stage and gave their speeches, I sit in that audience and I took notes. And I analyzed not just the words they were saying, but everything about them. And I sat in that audience and I made a list of all the traits that they seemed to have that I didn't have. All the skills and traits that I would need to move myself from the nosebleed section to the stage. And y'all, I gotta be honest with you, for me, the list was long. I had a lot of work to do on myself. But I knew the only difference between them and me is that they had been doing the work and I hadn't. Not yet. See, I thought I was trying, but I wasn't using my energy effectively in the right places because I was uncomfortable and afraid. So I spent the next 2 solid years working on myself. And as I tackled myself, the results came and my goals were accomplished. Me earning the place on that stage was simply a side effect of the work I did on myself. 90% of the work that I did on myself for 2 solid years with no detours and no distractions was personal and professional development. Mindset, time management, emotional management, communication, public speaking, presentation skills, leadership, sales, emotional management, money mindset, because I wanted to be a champion. Not because I wanted to rack in the big bucks, but because the more you make, the more you can give. And the definition of a champion is somebody who knows the rules of the game and is willing to play by them better than anyone else. Now, how many of those skills that I just listed did I learn as a kid? 0. How about you? How much easier would your business be today if you had grown up with those skills? Well, what if we could change all that? How many of you have kids? Raise your hand if you're a parent. You know, we may not be able to go back and undo our childhood, but we can change it for our kiddos. What if we could create an educational system that prioritized life skills, leadership skills, and strong character development as part of the core curriculum? Y'all know as well as I do that the education system that we all grew up in is archaic, broken, and dysfunctional. Yet the overwhelming majority of parents every single day, just like you and me, still have to put our kids in school every single day because we have no choice. And most of us don't even know what's going on over there behind the scenes. I know I didn't, not until recently. But education is actually a global frustration. Our children all around the world are still going to school with a model that is over 200 years old and was toxic to begin with. Do you know that education is the only industry on the planet that has not been forced to either innovate or die? Innovation, communication, problem solving, leadership, emotional intelligence, accountability. Where are these taught in schools? They're not in the mainstream. Yet these are the top traits that today's industry leaders and world changers are saying that our graduates need most. Now, y'all, I learned from myself, from my own personal experience, that I had not been taught the true skills needed to succeed. But then when we started traveling internationally, we saw two things that changed us forever. First, aspiring entrepreneurs all over the world who were still struggling with the same challenges I had been through, desperately wanting to succeed, but having to overcome a background that only taught following instructions. We are having to overcome programming in a background that teaches only following instructions, which creates only mediocrity and status quo survival. And the second thing that blew our minds is that everywhere we went, in these local areas, the school systems were still programming children to become mediocre robots. So 5 years ago, we'd seen enough. We'd had enough, and we could no longer be a part of a world that turned a blind eye to such madness. So we embarked on a mission to radically revolutionize global education for our next generation. We did everything wrong in the beginning, and we learned tons of painful lessons along the way, but we didn't give up. And 5 years later, today, our system is on the brink of explosion. The name of our school is Life School for Leadership Arts. And of course, leadership means servant leadership, that we are raising our children to know they are blessed to be a blessing, not striving for management to manipulate. Life is an acronym. It stands for leadership, innovation, freedom, and excellence. And our goal is to have schools like this all over the world, eventually spanning all ages from cradle to college. Because why should it be that only the kids in our zip code are lucky enough to have access to this type of education? Our goal, and we believe it's time, that all children on earth should have access to an educational experience that equips them to thrive as humans and make an awesome impact on the world. That is our big, hairy, audacious goal. So as we set out to tackle this behemoth of a mission of revolutionizing global education, we are not naive enough to think that it's going to be quick or easy. It's already become the hardest thing we've ever done, and there are a lot of people out there wanting us to fail because we are threatening their status quo. We don't have all the answers or the resources yet, and we know the world today is a very dark and scary place, and we shudder at the thought of what our children are being taught and exposed to when we're not looking. But a little bit of light dispels a lot of darkness. So rather than fighting the darkness, we're simply going to turn on the light. So we invite you, come with us, and let's be the light for our children together. God bless you.